As a kid, I would tell my mother, seeing her down, seeing her go through all this different stuff, and I'd be like, "Mom, I got you. I got you. I'm gonna be a professional athlete. I don't know what it is because I played so many sports, but I was like, I'm gonna take care of you. Like, I'm gonna make sure I get it done one day." And to her, it was just talk, but for me, I was really living to do that.
Welcome back to Innovate or Evaporate, where we explore the relentless pace of change and the innovators who drive it. I'm your host, Toph Day. There's a hidden trap in professional sports: draft capital bias. The system tries to define exactly what you're worth before you ever play a single snap. For most of league history, if you were an undrafted player at a support position like slot cornerback, your value was permanently capped, someone to fill a temporary gap. But real innovators know that a baseline definition is just someone else's opinion. Our guest today, a kid from Valdosta, Georgia, was told by the entire NFL machinery that he wasn't worth a draft pick. He came out of a Division II school, signed a $0 bonus, and was waived before his rookie season even started. Then he completely changed the math. Quietly, methodically, with no draft pedigree and no hype machine, he rose from a fifth-string waiver to a franchise cornerstone. He eventually signed a market-shattering contract that made him the highest-paid slot cornerback in NFL history. He completely reframed how the modern football world values the position. But his blueprint for disrupting the status quo doesn't stop on the field. When Hurricane Helene devastated his hometown, he was hundreds of miles away in a team facility. He couldn't be there physically, so within 20 minutes, he partnered with a local pitmaster to fire up a community kitchen. They fed 200 neighbors curbside in the first 48 hours and ultimately scaled that supply chain to deliver 13,000 meals to families in need. Not a press release, not a check written from a distance, a real-time logistical response mobilized by a man who teaches weekly mentorship classes, runs a club for foster youth, and earned his college degree during NFL off-seasons because his word doesn't bend. He is a Pro Bowler, a record-setting 3-time Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, and a leader building the infrastructure to prove that where you start has nothing to do with what you build. Kenny Moore II, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I need you to go with me everywhere I go. So you can introduce me.
I spend a lot of times on these intros, right? But I have so much fun looking at people's path. And like, people are doing incredible things. We all tend to read the headlines and think, oh, well, that was easy. You know, he's just gifted, or she's gifted in some way, and it all happened magically. There's always a backstory.
You know, I think the best part for me, you know, with public speaking or doing like Q&As and stuff, is for like the moderator to know exactly like my story.
Yeah.
So it just preaches a lot of like, you're very intentional. You did your homework. You know who I am, you know, I guess on paper, but now we can sit here today to
in the flesh
to really talk about the story. So
can we go back to Valdosta?
Let's do it.
You were the only son in 7, right?
7 kids. Yeah, I'm
7
the only
kids?
boy. I got a twin sister. She kind of took all the genes from me.
Who's older?
I'm older.
You're older?
And 7 kids in 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we were 5 kids, I think it was, in like 8 or 9 years. 7 in 8 years. That's
8.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Your mom is a rock star.
Superwoman.
So talk to us about that. Talk to us about your mom growing up and her influence on your life.
I would say my mother, her influence on me was more so like the hard work aspect. She put us before herself. Like I remember, you know, her not eating because she wanted to support us first, or, you know, she had a long night shift. She worked at Walmart growing up, and I think that lit a fire with me because her having to work that kind of job for 7 kids, and, you know, I watched my mother kind of, you know, work out of the work shoes. You know, the bottom of her shoes like being tore up, or, you know, wearing the same jeans and stuff like that. It's just the little things that I kind of saw that I kind of just wanted better for her, and for me to want better for my mother, I had to stay out of trouble. I had to put my energy in good places. I never wanted to disappoint her. I never wanted to upset her, because I knew she already had a lot on her plate. So I think I kind of put the pressure on myself to want to amount to so much in this world. But honestly, I thought it was more pressure from like from where I was from what I was going through, as a kid. So um, even where I'm at right now, as far as being a free agent, I don't really feel the pressure because I feel like I've already kind of made it through the storm that I kind of put myself through growing up. So, but back on my mother, she was so hardworking. I can speak all day about her, but um, I would just say like the hardworking aspect for me was so nonstop of like being a D2 athlete or being undersized. I feel like I can kind of get through anything just by seeing how my mom kind of got through life.
As you think about back to that, what are some of the words that come to the mind that because your grandparents had a big influence on you growing up as well, right?
Oh, big influence. My grandmother was kind of like my mother because my mother she wasn't I was she wasn't around a lot for like making me do my homework or she wasn't around a lot to it's more so like the morals or the ethics of things because I saw her work like nonstop growing up. And to provide a way, she kept the lights on. She kept, you know, us with decent clothes on our backs. She made sure that, we were in good standings. Like, and it wasn't always easy at all. I felt kind of embarrassment growing up. Having so many sisters or so many kids in the house. I didn't want to go to the grocery store with the family, or I didn't want to go certain places because I didn't want to like feel away. It's kind of like hard to explain, but I'd rather just sit back and be home rather than being out in public and stuff because I didn't really see a lot of families that had, a lot of kids in the family. So, and we lived under the same roof like my entire life pretty much. So, it was like cheaper by the dozen. You had kids on top of the house, kids trying to drive, kids in the pool trying to do stuff. Like we were always trying to do something, but I think having a lot of sisters, it pushed me to sports. That was one of the reasons why I played sports because I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to be out at the mall doing stuff. I just wanted to kind of get away. And I think sports for me was always like a safe haven. Like I put a lot of energy from like what I was going through as a kid into, making sports my type of art. So
did you start playing sports as young as you can remember?
So my parents separated whenever I was 4 years old. We moved to Miami, Florida, where my grandparents were. And my grandmother, she was a nurse at Coral Gables Memorial. My grandfather had worked on a golf course, big golf course in Miami, Florida. And we lived in Coconut Grove. And so my mother and all her kids, we went down to Florida. And every single day I would nag my mom about playing sports. I wanted to play football so bad. She always said no because she was always afraid of injuries. She was scared of like everything that came with it, the physicality of it. And I was a tiny kid. Like I'm still kind of looked apart from other teammates, but I was very tiny. Like I graduated high school at 138 pounds.
I had you by 7 pounds. I was 145.
Yeah, so I was bad. But I remember one day she got off of work. At this time, she had worked at a place called Kmart. And I remember her coming home from work, and I'm in the driveway probably putting some shots up. And as soon as she touched the gate, I go over to her, and I'm asking her the same question I ask her every day. But this day was different. She said, "Okay, get your stuff." I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean?"
Is this middle school?
I'm 5, 6 years old.
Oh, you're still okay.
She's like, "Get your stuff." And I'm like, "Seriously? Put some shorts on, change your clothes or whatever. We're going to go down to," it was called West Grove. It was like a Boys and Girls Club in Coconut Grove. And from that point, that's when we started playing three sports a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did the 3-sport thing. It seems like so many people in the last, 10 to 20 years has gone to one sport. What do you think about one sport versus 3 sports?
So doing several clinics a year, I have parents asking me about, should my kid do one sport or 3 sports or however many. Because usually the coaches that are in the schools or some type of influence within the sport that the kids wants to play, those coaches want those kids to maximize their time in that sport. But it kind of becomes a job. Like you go from being just a kid playing sports with your friends to having this actual like year-long obligation to your teammates and your coaches. So like for me, I just tell them, just let your kids be kids. Like just let them figure it out. And I would say, I think rule number 1 is what my mother taught me was, if you start something, finish it. So it was never a conversation if I wanted to like halfway do something. Like she said,
expected.
If you're gonna do this, like I'm not spending money on this registration, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like no, you're gonna play this year.
Cost money.
Yeah. So that's what I tell the parents these days is let your kids do every sport, because for me, a lot of those different sports correlated to how I play football or correlated to how I play basketball and baseball. And I think just a step deeper for the parents, you learn so many characteristics within the sport and not just the sport itself. Because I think everybody think about, oh, my kid's playing this sport because we can make a lot of money, one day. But for me, it's more so like you can learn teamwork, you can learn communication, you can learn how to kind of talk to yourself through it. Like whenever you leave the house, you don't have your parents.
Right.
You have your teammates, you have your coaches, you have a different type of family. So you got to be able to work with these people. You got to be able to communicate. And for sports, it's so diverse. I don't know any other job that's so diverse. Everybody come from different backgrounds, religions, and interests. But you can really build something as a team to go win something that we all want.
And learn how to fail, right?
Learning how to fail is probably
resolution.
The biggest one. It's the biggest one for me.
Football's unique in that, I think. So I love it. You said that you weren't allowed to play. So I played football through freshman year, and I wasn't allowed to play anymore because I was small. And my dad was like, nope, you're too small, not playing, you get hurt. And who knows, maybe I could have been slot cornerback.
Yeah, you could have been KMO. Nah, so I did that as well, but I did that to myself.
Yeah.
I had a coach. I was going into high school, and a coach was like, I'll never forget, his name was Coach Burdett. I wore number 64 as a middle schooler going into high school. Like we all had like crazy numbers. It's kind of like New England. And I had number 64 on, and this coach was just walking by at practice. He was like, I'm gonna make you a corner. And I'm like, I don't think I can do it. Like he's like, you're gonna do it. I know you can do it. And I took that challenge as in like he was picking on me, or he didn't want the best for me. He didn't want me to play receiver. I really wanted to be a receiver.
Yeah.
And they didn't want me to be a receiver. And so and the type of offense that we had, you were either a flanker or like a Z. And so
flanker.
Yeah, you were either S or Z. And so we didn't have an S, a slot receiver. We didn't have that because it was more rundown.
Yeah.
Doing all these like S individual routes on the outside, but I didn't want to play defense at all, ironically. Like I was like, this is not for me. It's too physical. I'm scared of all these different things that people are scared of. So I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not playing. And then 4 years later, I'm playing as a senior in high school.
So when you're entering into high school, what's your mindset at that point in time? Is your mindset that I'm going to try to go all the way? Or your mindset is, I'm going to play this sport, I'm going to have a good time, build relationships, and go to school and do something different?
All right, you want me to break it down of how I am as a freshman in high school?
Yeah.
All right, so as a kid, I would tell my mother, like, seeing her down, seeing her go through all this different stuff, and I'd be like, Mom, I got you. I'm going to be a professional athlete. I don't know what it is because I play so many sports, but I was like, I'm going to take care of you. Like, I'm going to make sure I get it done one day. And to her, it was just talk. But for me, I was really living to do that. Like, I made sure to stay out of trouble. I made sure to, kind of do right by my family to make sure that I was in that position one day. And not to say that, like, I knew it all at that point in time as just a little, kid, but she kind of started that for me. Like, she kind of made that picture grow for me. As a freshman in high school, I was super shy, timid, very quiet. I didn't have friends for 2 years, and I would say like a friend group. But my friends at that point in time, his name was Roy Brown. Roy Brown, he encouraged me to play soccer my freshman year of high school. I played basketball all 4 years, soccer freshman year with Roy Brown. He wasn't a crazy guy, but he was kind of more social than I was. And so he had different friends around school, but Roy, I don't know what he saw in me, but he just encouraged me to kind of play. I figured it out, made the JV team with him, and we that was probably, we were just kind of like classmates and friends throughout high school, but nothing more than like college, or like I haven't spoke to Roy in so long. But shout out to Roy Brown. And then I had another classmate named Michael Hinkles. He was one of my friends. I used to skateboard in high school, and he was my friend that introduced me to skateboarding. And I took off with my skateboarding career. And so
I still don't understand that. You put wheels on my feet, and I'm like I don't even know, like a drunk gazelle.
Have you ever snowboarded or skied or anything?
Skied, but not snowboarded.
And surf?
Well, I tried surfing once, and that wasn't pretty either.
Yeah, so I was this curious kid on not just sports, but people. Like, I can be friends with any classmates and stuff like that, but I had a lot of alone time to kind of figure out how I wanted the rest of my high school career.
So you're an introvert. You're introvert, extrovert?
I'm introverted, but I'm kind of even keeled, but I can kind of adapt to the flow.
Go with the flow.
Yeah.
That's what I like. Just going with the flow. Whatever situation you're in, just kind of observe.
Yeah, I'm all vibes. I go with vibes.
That's awesome.
Depends on who I'm around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like, we are who we surround ourselves with, right?
Right.
Typically. So surround ourselves with good people. So what's your best sport in high school? Where do you think you're going to go pro in the back of your mind?
I never thought about professional sports in high school. I was kind of just like taking it one day at a time, 1 year at a time. I love basketball. That was my pride and joy. We would go play basketball with, neighborhood kids. Or I had a friend group, once 11th grade started, but and all we did was play basketball or video games and, go hang out at each other's houses. But I never thought about the professional route in college. My sight didn't go that far.
In high school?
In high school.
So it was till Valdosta State?
I wanted to go play intramural lacrosse at Kennesaw State at one point in high school. And then,
you were a multi-athlete. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You got lacrosse, basketball, football, soccer.
At the end of, in 11th grade, I tried out for the track team, and I made it to the state finals for 110-meter hurdles. So it was super weird. And then I played football senior year. Sophomore year, I only played basketball.
So pattern recognition. I think you seem to have a skill set with like pattern recognition. Where
does that come from?
Do you think about that today? And like, do you realize that you have that like unique skill set?
That innate ability to read routes?
Right.
Yeah, because I think that's a really good strength of mine of knowing what's about to happen. And I think the cool thing is about playing defensive back, you got to kind of like guess and be risky.
Yeah.
But for me to play almost 10 years now, I guess right more than I guess wrong.
50-50 shot.
Things happen. But yeah, to have 21 interceptions, you gotta, kind of do it in a.
So how much time do you?
A lot.
I like it.
It's more so like I tell people, like, football isn't just about the S's and O's and getting down the field and stopping and tackling and, the points. It's kind of like an acting job too. Like, is like you see certain things on film that if a guy does this thing like 2 or 3 times, I call that a tendency.
Yeah.
Like, this guy has this tendency to tap his foot, or if he was to like double take on the right side, like maybe, this player is coming, or maybe he's looking at this guy and you see how certain offenses are run when certain guys are in a game or certain guys are in motion. Like every team has a deep ball guy, a possessional guy that moves the sticks, a gadget guy who's like shifty and faster and he does a lot of motions and stuff like that. But every offense has their own kind of philosophy or language, so to speak. So and every coordinator is from a certain tree. So maybe something that this team didn't do, that doesn't mean that they can't do because they have the same setup as this other coach that does these same plays. So just knowing those type of deals and all those things come together with like formations and who's in the game. Okay, we say in the film room, where's Waldo? And a lot of teams put their best guy in certain positions to make certain plays, but if that guy's out of the game, that means he can't do this, or they don't trust him doing this. Like, it's about trust from teammates and coaches. So all those things come together.
How much time do you think you spend studying versus actual practicing physically?
We only practice for an hour and a half on 12-hour days. So that kind of gives you we meet a lot. Like it's more here than anything. And I think as a collegiate athlete, you're thinking like maybe, I guess in college you don't really realize that you don't see professionals in practice like being too physical or like those things aren't like going viral and stuff. Like if you pull up Oklahoma State or Alabama, you see these guys wearing pads and they're going full at it. But like in the league, it's more so an investment, and maybe college will be like that these days because of the amount of money that's going into these teams.
Right.
But in the league, it's more so like classroom, and then we call it class on the grass, which is like walk through, like a slower pace practice. And we got to make sure you understand these things because in the league, the schemes and the S's and O's, it's like a English 5,000. Like you were learning this at a English 1,000 in college, but how can you learn and play fast and do the same at the same time?
100%. When you listen to some of the play calls, it's a foreign language.
For the offense, yeah. I don't even know how they have it that long, but it beats me. On defense, I'm listening to like maybe two things and I'm good.
Yeah.
But I mean, offense, same way.
Hi, I'm Mayor Chris Jensen. Growth doesn't happen alone. It happens where communities invest in innovation, talent, and possibility. Noblesville Economic Development is helping companies accelerate along Innovation Mile, one of Indiana's fastest growing innovation corridors. If growth is part of your future, start the conversation at choosenoblesville.com/innovate. Noblesville, all about you.
So I want to go back to Valdosta State for a moment.
Yep.
So I went to this camp, this is a couple of years ago, and I talk about the story all the time because it was impactful. You've probably, Gary Brackett, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
So I'm walking up to this camp, and he was giving a talk with probably a dozen or two adults, and one of the adults asked a question. She said, my son has these aspirations to play in the NFL, but I know he doesn't have the skill set. What should I tell him? He's not going to make it.
Wow, that's harsh.
And Gary said, you don't tell him that at all. You tell him to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And, and even if he lands here, it's still awesome, right? It's like pursue your dreams and get after it. So I'm curious, when you came out of high school, so you didn't really have aspirations, and I think you might have thought about going to the Air Force.
I did. I was just about to say that.
Yeah. So that was your freshman year at Valdosta?
Yeah, I was already contemplating. I was taking a test my senior year to, the ASVAB to go into the Air Force. I was like, Mom, I'm ready. I had a friend, a classmate, maybe the year prior. I forget his name, but shout out to him. But he was working in South Korea. He was working on jets, and it looked super fun. Like it was sick and stuff. And so I remember we were on like some video call, maybe like Uvu or something. I'm getting old, but back in the day. And so I remember being on this video call with him. And he was like showing me the jet, showing me all this stuff, and I was like, sick. I'm about to go take the test. I got to go to South Korea. Like not even knowing that doesn't really work like that. But I was kind of hooked from there. Like I was like, I'm going to the Air Force, and
and at this point, straight out of high school.
I wanted to go straight out of high school. Yeah, and so my mother was like, you're my only son. I don't want to like put you in the service right now. So she was like, we kind of made a bet, and she was like, if you play your freshman year, you get your degree, and then we'll talk after college. If you don't, I'll let you take the test. And I was already planning on leaving after my freshman year.
Yeah.
To leave. And so, you know, it was just favor. I was the only freshman to play with 1 year of experience under my belt.
So then were you at Valdosta? How long were you at Valdosta?
I was there for 4 seasons.
You were there for four seasons?
I dropped out of school though.
For the draft? Or just because?
To go professional.
To go professional. So you're like, stick it all on red.
What, Air Force?
No, for the NFL.
What do you mean?
So you dropped out of college because you're like, I'm going to go try to go
pro. I put
pro.
all my tokens on the league, yeah. There's no going back.
No going back.
Mm.
So undrafted, but then you get a phone call as a free agent. Is that right? How does that work? Like, how does free agency really work?
So I'll break down my entire senior season. So in college, not having the experience that I needed to kind of be like, I'm the guy. I was always like humble in a way because I didn't do this my entire life. Like, I didn't want this to begin with. I didn't want to go to this small school. I didn't want to go to school in my hometown. So I was never like, this is me. I want to be here. I'm meant for this.
That's wild.
Is ball or go home. But so I was always treating it as if like, I get to do this. I'm gonna work my best. This is where this is where I am today. But I didn't put that same emphasis on school. And I say that because I'm not I don't know, maybe I come off serious sometimes, but I goofed off a lot in college. Like, I thought it was super easy. Like, this small school, the professors, whatever. I play football here, whatever. And so, playing my freshman year, I didn't really understand how much of a job it was. Like, the time management, the extra hours of study, the extra hours of film. I was around a lot of guys, no offense, but like the other freshmen that weren't at the same point that I was as far as playing and being, I was a special team. My collegiate career was kind of like my professional career. Started out as being on punt, and then you go to kickoff, and then you go to kickoff return. So you get a very small role, and then towards the end of the year, I became a starter, and I became a starter in college during the game, like during a rival game versus West Georgia. And if I wasn't on it, if I didn't take my moment seriously, or if I wasn't prepared on like the formations or the teamwork or knowing my teammates, the camaraderie, everything that had went into it, I would have missed my moment. Because in that moment, in that game, I had a game-sealing interception. And like from there, it took off for me football-wise. But at the end of my freshman year, I almost gotten kicked out of school because my grades was terrible. And I went to class every day. If you ask me how, I'm not sure. And so at the end of my freshman year, to get reinstated of like you're back in good standings, you had to go around the college to get signatures from the deans of this degree or whatever it is. And so you got to get four signatures. So I'm over on this part of campus. I'm on my last signature, and everybody I had talked to, my counselor, or I forget what Miss Tillman's job, like she was kind of like my advisor. She talked to some more people. I get to the last signature, and who I'm speaking to, he ended up giving me the signature. Long story short, but I get up to walk out of his office, and he stops me. He's like, honestly, like, you're just wasting your time. And I was like, I'm sorry. And he was saying, like, you're not going to go anywhere with football. Like, you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that, XYZ. And it was to the point where I left the office crying because I had never heard anybody, speak to me that way, kind of, and especially in a professional type of atmosphere. And so I got back in his car. This girl that I was dating at the time, she was waiting outside. And I just remember, like, getting in the car and she was like, yeah, what happened? And I just, tears everywhere. But I say that because that was another moment that, like, I was like, you know what? I won't forget about this moment. Like, I won't forget about that. And what else in college? Where were we before?
Did you end up getting on scholarship?
Partial scholarships in D2.
In D2. So you had to go talk to these 4 people and get these signatures. So what was that prep work like? What was going through your mind of? Like,
I was so nervous to get those signatures because I wasn't a bad kid at all.
Right.
Like, I was super quiet for the most part. If you made me laugh, I may not stop laughing. But I was a really good kid, had a really good background, and man, honestly, I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to play football. But I was super nervous in those meetings because I felt like I had done something I wasn't supposed to do, and I couldn't believe that I had to tell my mom, like, I'm not sure if I'll be able to go here next year. I may have to go to, the community college and work my way back into this college, and I just felt like a failure.
So I've had some crazy stuff said to me as a student, and even yet still today, I get some crazy things said to me, and it always baffles me. And I thought about going back and talking to a few of them. A few of them are passed away; they're not living anymore. Maybe you're going back and talk to that person?
No, actually, no. I feel like a lot of athletes, they try to do it for people that say they couldn't, like prove people wrong. But I kind of just switched my thinking and doing it for the people, like, saying that we were right. I was right about what I said. Like, what I was going to tell you was, even people that I kind of came across in maybe a wrong way of, like, having bad grades, but I mean, the same thing happened with, like, siblings or my parents, telling my parents, like, or telling my siblings, hey, I'm going to go try out for the football team, in high school. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I went to a really big high school, so it was a big deal if you played.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm going out for I'm going to talk to Coach McPherson. I'm telling him that I want to play. Then I come back home the next day and I'm like, yeah, we just had our first practice. It went all right. I wanted to play receiver, but he asked me at corner. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm starting. And my family's like, nah, yeah, you probably won't play too long.
Thank you.
So I was like, wait, what? And, having that type of conversation, or in college, my oldest sister calling me and she's telling me, hey, you need to quit. You need to help mom with bills. You need to help mom with this. And I'm like, wait, what? No. Like, you don't know how good I'm doing here. Like, I'm doing really good. She's like, I probably won't go too far. So it's just, it's just a college sport. So, those things happen, and, you can live with resentment, or you can live with, like, oh, I did it to prove you wrong. Ha. But I'm the closest with my, older sister, and, we talk about those things.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say what you have to say in the moment, but maybe I just handled it in a really good way or whatever. But, because she could have gotten to me. I actually called my mom after that phone call and told her, like, hey, should I quit playing football to help you? Like, are you okay? And she's like, son, I never want to stress you out. Like, go do your dreams. So just having that type of person to advocate for your dreams is very important. So yeah, with what Gary said to that mother, like, that's so important, because you don't want to be the first person to kind of tell your child to go in a different direction before anybody else does. Like, if anything, you should support that. And then once that happens to your kid, they already feel the strength of the community behind, he or she to, keep thriving.
They feel empowered at their core. There's going to be plenty of naysayers throughout life.
I mean, sometimes you naysay yourself. Like,
it's true.
So it's either you're going to power through or you're going to give up. And sometimes I would say, like, for me in the foundation, we try to, put kids in a position to where when life happens, like, you're already prepared to get through it. Like, we don't want you to be reactive to life. We don't want you to be reactive to self-doubt or doubt from others around you. We want to strengthen you. So when these things happen, you know who to talk to, or you know how to talk to yourself. So I would say, like, one more, it's like whenever I remember over dinner, I wanted to wait till dinner to tell my parents that I was dropping out of school. And because I feel like
And this is in your senior year, first semester?
This is before the senior season.
Before senior season.
So this is like
after your junior
fall
year.
camp, basically.
Fall camp.
Yeah. And every year of college, my stats kind of like doubled. And I was having more fun, trying to figure it out, trying to go deeper into playoffs. And I was just really loving football. Like, I was so passionate about the school and like the success the school, the potential the school has. And I remember telling my parents, like, after the senior season, since I only have one more season left, I think I'm gonna just forego school. I try to not say drop out. I'm gonna forego school.
It's a great word, forego.
And I'm gonna try it for the National Football League. And you just hear like
pin dropped.
You just hear like utensils drop on the plate. It gets super quiet. You gonna do what? And I'm like, I can't stay in town after my senior season. Like, I need people around me that believes in the dream just like I do. Like, I'm gonna be the only one training. I guess I did have a couple teammates that was trying to make it to the league that I had graduated with, football-wise. But I was like, no, I can't do that. We don't have the resources here to do that. And honestly, I didn't know what I was talking about, but it just made sense. I was like, I got to go to this bigger city, whatever it is, of people who get people in the league every year. And my parents are like, no, that's stupid. And I'm like, wait, how? If you have the resources around you to go, like, it'll basically like propel you to, to that point.
Makes sense.
And like, we're kind of just going back and forth, and they're like, you're not doing that. And I was like, I am. That was the first time I ever went like against the word of my parents. Of like, this is right. I promise this is the right formula. And so after my senior season, I compiled all my highlights from every single year. And my dad had passed away going into my senior season. So it was called Dedication to Dad. So that was like another like thing that I was like planning for. And I was studying communication arts, mass media. Shout out to the guys over here. I respect it. I had got with this classmate. Her name was Tiara Bell. She helped me compile all these videos. And I had sent it to all these agencies on Twitter. And it was only one agent that hit me back. He said, I'll call you tomorrow. I said, oh my gosh. Like, this is my first break. And ended up being the agent that I signed with. He was transitioning from New York to Indianapolis, ironically. And signed with them in December of my senior season. We ended up having, playoffs. Came along, playoffs. We were a really good team. We got beat first round of playoffs. And that was probably my best game in college. First or second best game. We played UNC Pembroke. But I was in Indianapolis January 18th, 2017 to start training.
And so how did you they help you find a place to stay? Did you know anybody in Indy when you came here?
I didn't know a soul. So in December, let's backtrack a little bit more. In December, after my senior season, I was invited to not the Tropical Bowl, but it was like the Tropical Bowl. It's the same people who run the Tropical Bowl. They run a lower level, a lower school, all-star game. And so it was in Daytona. Me and some teammates went and played in it.
Yep.
I was playing safety at the time. I played corner every year of college. Senior year, we had some teammates go down in the spring. I go to safety, had a really good season at safety. And then I'm playing safety in this little, all-star game. So at the end of it, I'm communicating with these people that run the All-Star game, and I'm like, if y'all have the Tropical Bowl, which is for like all D1, strictly D1, like no one else can get in. I said, well, I had a lot of fun today, and this process is really good, and kind of sweet talking my way in, and I'm like, well, if you have any spots open for next week's Tropical Bowl, know that I'll be there and I'll play in it, and we can do something good here. And so they're like, okay. I get the invite maybe a day or two later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, another opportunity.
That's awesome.
Because at that point of being a D2 athlete, you need as much exposure as possible.
Yeah.
Like they got to be tweeting about you doing something. I had known nothing about a publicist, anything, and I didn't have an agent at the time. But after that first All-Star game, that's when I hit up the agent, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was asking me, did I have any, All-Star games? And I was like, I got one more, back in Daytona. So I drove back down to Daytona. With some safeties, a safety named Quincy Maje. He went to Georgia, some more guys from Florida. All that. I started the game at safety. And so
did you know that before you got there? Or did you guys have some practices?
No, we had practices to earn a spot.
To earn a spot. And then you earned a starting spot.
Starting safety.
That's dope.
And so from there, I just wanted to do everything right. But I had 3 pro days in 5 days after I got back from Indy, training and stuff for draft combine stuff. So I had pro day on. No, the first thing I did was we used to have something in the league called a regional combine. So guys who aren't invited into the big house, in Indy, there was about 5 or 6 teams around the league that were hosting small school combines. So being my college is in Valdosta, Georgia, the closest team was New Orleans. I said, okay, great. I drove to New Orleans Friday, had the combine Saturday. Some good, some bad. But at the end of the combine, the scouts and coaches and stuff, they handpicked guys that they wanted to talk to and have a conversation with. I was not one of those guys. I remember going back to the hotel in New Orleans, and I was like, dude, my career is over before I can even get started. I'm not good enough. I was so tired. I was overweight, and I was just like, this is not a good workout. So I drove back home on Sunday, and I knew I had pro day on Monday. It was only 2 teams there, the Giants and the Jaguars. And it was about 8 to 10 of us that were working out to, do pro day. Well, the Jaguar scout, he gave me some confidence within this workout. So it was an all right day. I had a defensive coordinator from my freshman year of college email Bill Belichick during this time of the draft. To this day, he's still at Iowa, this coach. He's the not defensive coordinator, but I think he's the linebackers coach. His name's Seth Wallace. Amazing guy. He'll tell you all the things you don't want to know about yourself.
In a loving way.
But yes, but I would tell players to this day, even though he is tough on you, he's telling you the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
He will humble you, whether it's academics, your athleticism, your parents. The guys know what I'm talking about. And I still talk to him to this day. But he emailed Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick emailed him back and was like, okay, we'll keep an eye out for him. And he sent me that screenshot in 2017. And I was like, yeah, thanks for the help, but that's probably not going to help anything. But but to not talk about draft day just yet, the day after my pro day, it was a Tuesday. I'm about to lay down and take a nap because I'm exhausted from Saturday's workout and Monday's workout. A scout from the Kansas City Chiefs called me and was like, we're going to be at we're going to be at Kennesaw State's pro day tomorrow, Wednesday. We want you to be there. Sweet, I'll be there. I told my mom I gotta go to Atlanta, for a night for a workout. Did it, but I'm just trying to explain the exposure and the opportunities that guys need in order to get to their dream. It's not just about, being drafted or being a first round pick. Like, you got to do what you got to do to get to whatever point you want to get to. It's like having a North Star by any means necessary, like, get there. So,
like showing up on a moment's notice.
yeah, but just being prepared and just being willing to do it.
So, did you actually try out for the Patriots, or did you ever even get there?
I wasn't a tryout guy. I was not partial scholarship, but I got a little money. Like, it was like basically nothing to go there, but I was a free agent basically. Yeah. So he's free agents and you have tryout guys.
Yeah.
But my projection was to not be there long.
Yeah.
Like, it was like 2 weeks.
When did you have a motto, win every play? Is that right? Like, win every play, all the small steps, which makes me think all those small steps add up to big achievement.
Mine or in New England? It's like, do your job.
Yeah. Do your job.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a chest bump you do?
Like this?
One for God, one for him?
Yeah, for my father. Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
I mean, well, losing my dad at 20 years old, we didn't have a father-son relationship for about, more than 15 years of my life. And we stayed in the same city. And so I would say, I wouldn't say he didn't try, but I was a kid that I resented not just my father, but my mother and my grandparents and just like everybody that was kind of a part of the family, just because I always wanted my mom and dad to be together.
Yep.
And so it just never set well with me as a kid, and I just didn't like the family dynamic because I felt like, I had my grandfather growing up, but he was very quiet. Like my grandfather, he was very quiet. He took care of us. He took care of the house. Like, he did a lot to make sure that the house was in like good standings and like everything looked good. And I'm super like grateful for that. But when it came to like my dad, I just felt like it was a different type of connection. Like, I feel like I was the reflection of him, and just it just meant a lot for me for my parents to be together. Just as a kid, I understand now, and I understand relationships that it takes a lot of work, and sometimes things don't work out. But as a kid, I took it hard that I didn't want to be around my father like at all. And so, or if I was around and my parents were around together in the same, like, say we went to a restaurant
mm-hmm.
and they started like arguing, or if I felt like he wasn't like being serious, then like I took it to the next level. I'm just like, yeah, like, I'm good. But in college, actually 2 months before he passed away, I reached out to my father, and it was a real cool moment for me to have, just as a person, a son, as an adult now, because I don't know, it was a maturing moment for me to really have. So in college, high school, and middle school, my father, he was always around to see me run track, to go to the games, and by the end of the game, like, he'll be gone. He'll go home. I'm like, you're not gonna tell me good job, or you're not gonna, like, you don't want to go eat and celebrate? Whatever. Like, it was super weird. But I grew to understand that he just enjoyed to watch me play. Like, he enjoyed to watch me compete, and his thing wasn't the affection part of being a parent. That's just the type of parent that he was. And so, like, I remember just hanging out with him and my sisters. And my sisters, they were kind of like, I think they loved it more when he was around. But for me, it was, I don't know, I just took everything so serious as a kid. and probably still do. But whenever he passed away, I remember the week before week or two before he passed away, like being able to be in the hospital or hospice with him, like that really was a growing point for me to kind of just sit with and be like, dang, like, I could have looked at it as a point of like, we could have like all this time together. But honestly, I was just thankful that we did have that type of time together. Yeah.
So time flies when you're having fun. When we go deep, we're getting close to time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Before the rapid fires. No, this is great. I love it.
Talking here.
I could talk to you for 20 hours straight, I think. There's so many things I want to share with you about, like, there's just so many commonalities and relationships. But I want to talk about One Love Foundation and
Love One.
Or Love One.
A lot of people do that because it's a common universal thing to say.
Yes. Yeah. So Love One Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So what inspired that? What inspired the name, and what do you focus on with Love One Foundation?
Man, I can talk forever about, the community aspect, but for me to be seated right here today and to, for me to run on the field or be a role model in the community, I couldn't be this person without, the many examples that I've had in my hometown. Gratefully so, my parents kept us in the church growing up. And there's so many people at my church that poured into like the person that I am. There's a lot of coaches that poured into the player that I am, but they poured into the person as well, from the characteristics that you learn from playing football. I had so many different reminders, from my parents, my siblings, of the type of man that I should be. And I feel that it's just my obligation to kind of do the same thing for individuals or organizations throughout the city for them to be their best. So I just do my best to kind of align myself with other kind of people or resources to kind of gain a community to really be an enforcer within, the cities that we kind of, put community efforts in. So, but it's all about the village for me. Like I wouldn't know what community is if I didn't, look around to see the type of love that I have, back home.
Yeah. If we fast forward 50 years from now,
yep,
what do you want people to say about Kenny or about Love One Foundation or lives you've impacted?
That's a really good question. I would say just like the genuine aspect, not just about myself, but everybody that I'm involved with, like the publish, the photographers, the spearhead person that runs the foundation, or the communications. Like we're all as one. And even with me giving back at home, like it's not just myself, but you will see my family there, or you'll see people from the nonprofit itself. Just about like how devoted I am with community. And it's like, not to say football is like a second priority, because I keep the main thing, but whenever I take the helmet off, like that's not who I am anymore. So I want people to know that, how serious I take community and the role that I kind of put on myself to, wear the crown on that. It's not something that has an expiration date, or it's not something that I'm just doing in my, playing career, but I want to carry myself with that.
What can we be doing as a community? I'm not saying community as in Indianapolis, or like people. Like what do our kids need the most from what you've seen with all the work that you're doing? What can we do a better job of? Are there one or two things that kind of pop into mind of like, we just need to lean into this?
We got to get back to train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he would not depart from it. Like it's like kids not saying like, yes, sir, no, sir, no more. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I remember when that was like That's like the first thing I learned, when I begin to talk or whenever I begin to like communicate. It's more so like having a respect for someone that's around you.
Yeah.
It's people my age that I say yes, sir, no sir, yes ma'am.
Yep.
And it's not just about like me like bowing down, but it's like I'm showing appreciation.
It's different.
I'm honoring you and I'm respecting like what you got to say.
Yeah.
And
yes, sir.
I think
See, there you go.
I think we got to get back to like the communication aspect of life. Like everything is so transactional these days, and like what can you do for me or what have you done for me?
Yeah.
And I think it's more so got to get back to like the relationship part of like how can I help you or how you doing or how can we have like better intentions on life and just that kind of outlook.
Well, that's a perfect segue into these rapid fires. So if there's one thing, and we'll go both directions, you pick one or both. But if there's something that people should stop doing or people should start doing, what would that be?
In general or
whatever comes to mind?
That's tough. Something people should start doing.
Start doing or stop doing. Just to make life a little bit better.
Oh, to make life a little bit better. I got that. I like that one better. To make living life a little bit better. People should start diving into their creativity. Because I feel like that takes you away from the seriousness of life. Like it's kind of like a good, like for me, it's kind of like how I view sports or how I started sports. It's more so being that safe haven or being therapeutic, like getting into your, I don't know. I think art is a very broad term, but any type of creativity that you're
I absolutely love
by.
that. I get so fired up. These guys hear me talk about all the time. I get so fired up about the opportunities in the creative economy. I just feel like it's already starting to just accelerate. I think it's so exciting. So how about if someone doesn't feel like they're on the right track? Something's not quite right. Like any experience sharing or advice that you would have if someone doesn't feel like things are quite going right, like what would be a trait or a way that they could disrupt themselves to kind of change their trajectory?
I think self-evaluation is a very big thing with not just athletes but people in general. Is living in denial. You got to stop doing that, or seeing somebody else and thinking you're doing the same thing, but like no, look at yourself. Look at yourself in and out, and having that type of intuition to get the help that you need to living the life that you want to have. So I think we do a lot of comparisons, but yeah, something else that I think, we should do more of, to live a better life is more so like the mental wellness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could wave a magic wand and solve anything in the world in an instant, what would that be?
If I can solve anything in the world, I would solve cancer.
Hopefully we're getting close to that.
All types of cancers.
Yes,
yeah,
many types.
There's a lot, and I think there's a lot that we kind of put more emphasis on than the others. But I think all cancer is a priority to kind of cure or, trying to track down.
Yeah. Is there anything I haven't asked you about today that you want to make sure you share with the audience? We went kind of deep. That was awesome.
I'm a deep person. I feel like I think I always just get there. I don't even know why. It could be. I don't even know why.
It's good energy.
I think we should all be more like deep. I think the surface level stuff, it doesn't go too far, but kind of pulling the layers back on, just being vulnerable and just letting people see you. I don't ever shy away from it, I feel like. And I think that's something that kind of, fans and just people around me kind of respect about me. But I think that's how it's supposed to be.
So how do people learn more about Love One Foundation? Where do they go to learn more?
If it's not my Instagram, MOOREII, you will find the Love One Foundation handle, in my bio, or the website is loveonefoundation.org, and you'll be able to see and follow all of the cool things that we're doing as a foundation. I built a really cool team around me to really assess, make the foundation, elevate it in the right areas. So I'm very excited about all the cool things that we're doing this year in 2026 and forward. And hopefully you'll be able to see the changes that we have, going forward. But join the newsletter and really follow all the cool things that we're doing, not just, in the past or right now, but for future to come. So we would love to have everybody aboard.
I love it. Well, Kenny Moore II, thank you so much for joining us on Innovate or Evaporate. I've learned a ton. I can't wait to listen to this back. It's been an amazing time. It's just getting a little bit of your time. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Take care.
All right. Until next time, we'll see you soon on Innovate or Evaporate.